Hello, my fellow crest-wearing companions, and welcome to another episode of Extra Time, the U.S. Men's Team National Podcast. We got the holidays, we got the family in, so it's a special episode. Dad is joining us, coming all the way in. He got some stories. We're excited. My brother Ryan is here. Whole family's in, so we're just going to have a conversation. A lot has happened since the last time we did this. Friendlies have happened. I think another set of friendlies had happened. I think we didn't even do one before that. Pots have come out, rosters come in, 70-plus U.S. players haven't played for Pochettino a whole lot. We're going to break the whole thing down and just have a conversation. No idea where it's going to go. All that is coming up after this. What's going on, gentlemen? Yeah, how you guys doing? You excited to be doing this?
Oh yeah, I'm great to be here.
Having a blast.
It's nice to be alive and doing this. Yes.
So being honest, the one we did after we went to the January game, the World Cup qualifier, now 4 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Sitting with you to do it is weird for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm never sitting with you
The last time we did it, I had a sheet.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
You guys are sitting in the other room.
Yes.
A bed sheet.
Correct. And so it's
background.
It's
now we got this guy.
Yeah, it's different to be like, first of all, this room is awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I've seen it every time we do the podcast, and it's literally the only room I wanted to see when we came out of here. So,
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so from a soccer stance, we'll turn it to you. So, what is your background in soccer?
Oh my goodness.
You can tell people whatever you want to tell them.
Played in high school. Played for the Cosmopolitan Soccer League, which is like a semi-pro New York City league. I wouldn't even call it semi-pro. We got paid $30 a game back in the 70s.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still getting paid, so it's not pro.
Played in college for a team in New Hampshire and then a community college. Went to Oneonta State back when they were a national powerhouse with Hartwick to play there. And to be honest, the coach and I didn't get along, so I never played, and I didn't go out again after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I went there the last year. Farouk Karashi was there, and if you guys are real soccer buffs in America, you'll know who Farouk Karashi was. He was the Herman Trophy winner back then for Oneonta State when they almost won the national championship. He went on to play for and then own the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So, right,
never did.
Right,
I never heard of it either, but
and then so that's sort of my soccer background. And then because the National Soccer Hall of Fame wound up in Oneonta, and I was connected to soccer in Oneonta, and I stayed in Oneonta because I got a job at the college there. I played for the men's select team for the National Soccer Hall of Fame, and we were a bunch of, I think the guys on the team would agree, we were a bunch of goofballs, former college players, most of us Division I players, but not all. And we traveled around New York and New England playing friendly soccer games, promoting the National Soccer Hall of Fame. It was a lot of fun.
that's sweet.
I see pictures. It looked like it was
right.
really
And the only person on that team that your viewers might remember is a guy named Mooch Meyerneck, Glenn Meyerneck. And if you're a soccer buff in America, you'll know Mooch because he was a Herman Trophy winner at Hartwick when they won the national championship. And he went on to coach with Jim Lennox, who's another name you should all know. Jim was the head coach at Hartwick. He went on to coach the team from Denver in the NASL, I think the MSL. I think Mooch played in the MSL and at the NASL. I don't know. And he recently passed away. But those are the soccer names, the guys that I played with. So that's my history.
Nice.
Right.
And we put you in an appropriate...
Right, because I went to this.
Yes, because you were at
So
the 94
where did you go?
I went to Foxborough.
Who'd you say?
I watched Argentina play. Oh my God, I've already forgotten Nigeria. The
right.
Screaming Eagles.
Yes, the
Right,
Screaming
or the
Eagles.
Flying Eagles, I forget what they
Yeah.
call themselves.
And are they in it again this year? They have a playoff spot?
I think so. I think, how many? There's 4 UEFA spots and then 2 others. I think Africa plays against the nation in one, and does Oceania play against CONCACAF again?
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Yeah, the game I saw, some more soccer history. Maradona scored the winning goal, and Batistuta scored the first goal for Argentina, and I forget who scored the Nigerian goal.
So it was a close game.
It was a close game, yeah. We sat behind the goal, my brother and I, who's a big soccer fan, Bob Greenberg, and if you're in the New York City area and you know soccer, you'll know him. He was connected to the New York Cosmos for a long time and played when the Cosmos disbanded with Terry Garbett and all those guys and Werner Roth. He played with those guys for years. He was a real soccer player. The rest of us were make-believes.
Goofballs.
We were make-believes. And so, yeah, I remember going to that game with him. It was great. We sat in the end zone, and we were behind the goal that Maradona scored the winning goal on. So it was
Which
cool.
is awesome.
And he was like the player of he was the world's best player at the time.
Right.
So it was great to see him. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
great.
that's okay. So having kids in Oneonta, being a soccer person, having the Hall of Fame come in, what was your expectation when the Hall of Fame came in? Like, what were you imagining was going to happen for soccer in Oneonta?
Well, it was a hope for us, for me anyway. It was that hopeful time when those of us who were into soccer in America, and there wasn't, it wasn't a big sport. We were hoping that this was part of it emerging as being a real sport in America, And of course, because Oneonta State and Hartwick were powerhouses back in the 70s, we thought that's why the Hall of Fame should be there.
Mhm.
Because we, especially those of us in Soccer Town, USA, which is what Oneonta used to be
Right.
called, we thought like we were the center of the soccer universe. I think we thought a little bit more of ourselves than we should have, but that's okay.
It's about everything.
Because, because Hartwick was there, and Jim Lennox was there, and he was a national coach, and Glenn Meyernick was there, and he was a national team coach. So we had some reason to believe that we belonged, there.
Mhm.
But honestly, there wasn't enough traffic in Oneonta for the Hall of Fame to be successful. It really needed to be somewhere.
No,
I always thought when it was there.
moved?
Yeah, it's in
Is it
the south
Texas or
somewhere.
something?
It's in our National Soccer Hall of Fame. I know you're somewhere. I think you're in Texas.
I think it's in Texas.
Right.
I thought they took it to Houston or something.
Yes, I think you're right. We always thought maybe it should be in New York City or somewhere where people would go see it, right? So I think its move was inevitable, but when
It's weird because the Baseball Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown, and
Right.
that's not a big place.
right,
And that sees
plenty
thousands
right.
upon thousands of people
Oh, literally,
all the time.
of people every summer, yeah.
And so what made that? Why is that a difference?
Right,
then
right.
why didn't people?
And
just
we used to think that, right? We used to think, people
But they
might
also
come-
did build a massive park there for
right.
like 180 teams a
Right.
week.
Well, I remember as a kid thinking to myself, like, because of the Baseball Hall of Fame, that was why the Soccer Hall of Fame was going to pick up.
Right.
Because you would
right.
market that, you would capitalize on, like, why not see both? But that was like the childish, optimism and not realizing there's not a lot of overlap.
Yeah, but it was,
Fan
like,
base.
it was cool to go there the one year and see, Eric Winalda and
Yeah, the women played there on the field
the
too.
women
The
played
women
there
national
once.
team. Yeah.
So it was cool to go see that. I mean, it
You know,
sucks that it didn't
It
last
just,
long.
and the stand, like, it just wasn't, I mean, they never built a field there.
Right.
So, like, you had the right campus, but they always talked, like, when they built it, they were supposed to continue building an indoor stadium or a big stadium
Right.
attached to it or something, and then they
Yeah, I
ran out
can't
of
remember
funding
that,
or something
right.
crazy.
Right.
Like,
And I know the people that worked there, one of them we all know, Dave, Ranieri was one of the first employees there. They tried, but it was really hard to generate inertia for the Hall of Fame where it was. It was hard. And the sport wasn't, it
Wasn't
left
big enough.
Oneonta in a way.
But it's still not big enough.
Right.
In America, like you still run into the problems of you go like, oh, I'm gonna go watch a U.S. men's game, and people are like, why? Our soccer team's terrible.
Right,
It's like,
right.
but we're not.
correct.
Like the media and just what everyone's we've never done anything, right?
Right.
Neither has. There 8 countries have won the World Cup,
Right.
right? So if you're taking that as if you're a good team or not, 99% of the world's terrible at soccer.
So building off of that, I also
So-
think it comes into the way that you see it framed, because one of the things that I didn't realize, so the reason we're having this conversation, obviously, like, we go antiquing, and we try to find weird collectibles for U.S. soccer stuff, right? And like you having grown up through U.S. soccer and us having, the 30 years, we're looking at the 94 roster, right? This is a moment for America to go, where have we come since 1994? Did we, and everybody asking, did we get to where we thought we were going? Are we further? Are we not further? All that. And so when I think about those things, the world, all these teams that have qualified, it says have qualified for the final.
Right.
Because this was actually a multi-step thing. So for some of these countries, like you saw Haiti, the celebration is insane. And for Curacao, because they've made the World Cup final, whereas like we're going, no, the final is the one game.
And a
In
generation
America, that's
But a generation ago, that was our mindset. When the U.S. first made the first World Cup, when I was paying attention, it was a big deal.
Yeah, well,
we were like, they made it.
Making
Right.
it. So with more teams now, I think it's going to be very hard for the U.S. to not qualify the way that they do brackets in CONCACAF now. where they break you into 4 teams.
Right.
One that's like from the top league, one that's from like 2 from the next one, and then 1 from the bottom one, right? Curacao showed us that it's not set in stone.
They beat everybody.
Haiti, well, they didn't lose. They had 3 wins, 3 draws.
Okay.
But like Haiti shows
Yeah,
us.
it's through the hex. So that's just when Canada
Haiti beat Panama.
Yeah.
Haiti beats Panama. So it shows us that like, yeah, it's not set in stone. But for the U.S. to be in a group with none of those top teams, so no Mexico, no Canada, no Panama, no Costa Rica, no El Salvador, no Honduras, no Jamaica,
Right.
right?
So
They're not going to be in our bracket, right? You're most likely looking at that and going, if the U.S. doesn't get out, there was a monumental disaster.
Yes.
But regardless, qualifying is huge. I know there's more teams. More teams are getting in now. But even that's the first step.
Right.
You've got to make it.
Right.
Yep.
Right? We didn't have to make
Yeah,
it this year.
the tournament is actually mini tournaments that qualify you for another tournament.
Yes.
Like U.S. qualifying starts 3 years before.
Yep.
Right. We always get kind of whatever. Then you got to get you win your group. Then you win the hex. Then you make the final.
Correct. And winning it is first. Now, we didn't have to win. We don't have to make it this year. We just get in.
Correct.
So the friendlies are quote unquote more important
Right.
because
Right.
we need to see the U.S. win. But I've talked to Dad about this.
Right.
I don't think the U.S. needs to win the friendlies.
No.
And I told you in one of our podcasts, if Pochettino lost every single friendly up to the World Cup, but got all of the information he needed and put together the best team and we made the top 8, would anyone care that we lost all those games?
No one's going to remember.
Now, if we win all the friendlies and we go out in the group stage, are people going to remember we won all those friendlies?
No, it's going to be even more of an embarrassment.
So,
100%.
so does it matter what? Now, granted, it's awesome. We smashed Uruguay,
Yeah.
right? That's fantastic. With how well we played against Paraguay, I wasn't expecting that against Uruguay, especially with almost an entirely different starting 11.
Correct. Entirely different.
Right.
And we'll get to that because we had mentioned before we did this, like we had 70 different players.
Correct.
In the last count.
And Pochettino has said no one's set in stone. And I get that because he's trying to say, like, hey, you're not guaranteed to just be on the roster. You need to show me that you're on the roster. But we can speculate that, Pulisic, Adams, Robinson, Florian Balogun, probably Ricardo Pepe, just how he has performed better than Haji Wright,
Yeah.
are probably set in stone, barring, like, injury, they do something scandalous.
Yeah, something horrible.
Something
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah.
Like everyone thought Cameron Carter-Vickers was going to make it, right? Because he hadn't had tore his Achilles, he's done,
Mhm.
right? I don't think he was going to make it anyway because he hasn't played.
Right.
But
I think.
you don't know.
Correct.
But your favorite player keeps playing, Cristiano Ronaldo,
Yeah, I know my favorite player.
and
On that
he.
note, we're on the podcast.
Okay. And he's been, and the worst part is he's been playing well,
Right.
and he did well in MLS,
Right.
and he's a
And he's a
veteran.
veteran, and the coach likes him. And all that. Yeah.
And when you look at our team, who's over 30 that will start? Ream. Hold on.
Right.
You need leadership. You need veteran leadership that have been there before.
You can make that argument.
But if you want to make the argument of people that have been there before,
Right.
Pulisic, Weah,
Well, like half the team's made it.
Right.
Been there.
correct?
Like all your starters are going to have played in the tournament
and
before.
and Florian Balogun's playing in the Champions League and doing well.
Mhm.
And
Well, and the best part about that is not only are a lot of your starters going to have played in the tournament before, your starters that have played in the tournament before were also part of the generation where we wiped the slate clean, and they didn't have to go to a tournament with the previous generation.
Right. Right.
correct, because we missed it. Yeah,
So it's not like Pulisic played on the roster that had Donovan and Bradley. Like he was on the roster, but he didn't go to the tournament.
Didn't go to the World Cup
playing with those guys
because we didn't make it.
Because we didn't make it. So now it's like, well, all of you guys are too old. Now you're coming with these guys, so you just have to be here with them. Yeah. Okay, so let's when we think about the antiquing thing, we think about the cards and all the players, right? Like, where has soccer come to you through your eyes from?
Right.
Like
Alexis
not
was
just when you were
94,
growing up, like the '94 Cup.
A long way. So we used to talk about, and people can agree or not with me. I'm okay with that. We used to talk about the things that make good soccer teams, and one of them was culture.
Oh, don't worry, they will disagree
Well,
with
that's fine. That's
It's
fine.
the internet.
And so it's not just practice.
Mhm.
It's and it's not just being athletic and practicing. So people who think about how can the United States get better, they would say, well, we need more better athletes, and we need them, better practicing, better tactics, better coaching.
Mhm.
But what wasn't when I was younger, which I think is changing, is culture. What I mean by culture is when I first got introduced to soccer, it was because I grew up in a neighborhood full of Haitians. And the Haitians were into soccer. And they weren't into football, and they weren't into baseball, and they weren't into basketball, except for Charles Gardy. And if you're watching this, Charles, you should have played soccer. Guy from my high school was Haitian, who was a great basketball player.
Right.
And we would have won the state championship if he'd have played soccer instead. But he didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But we're definitely over it. We're definitely over
Yeah,
it.
we forgot about that.
We're digressing. Anyway, and so Americans, I was the only American player on my high school soccer team. And I was an outcast in a way from my friends in high school because I should have been playing football or basketball or baseball.
But that was
and
the
I
same
didn't.
for us.
Right, right. And it wasn't a big deal. Like, people didn't make fun of me, but it was. It was a thing. And the best athletes at my high school didn't play soccer. The best athletes played basketball, they played football, they played baseball.
Yeah,
so us soccer players used to say, the U.S. is never going to be a world power until its best athletes growing up are playing soccer.
Yes.
And the culture changes. So, and I think if Americans were honest with each other, like if you look at football or baseball or high school college football, like look at the Ohio State.
Think of the game that's happening
right now. We don't have that culture in soccer. Like, we have some passionate fans
down the street for them to sell wings out because they know they're going to have so many things because everybody has their Michigan, Ohio State stuff on it everywhere.
Correct.
Because people couldn't even tell you when the men.
And here's why I think that matters. I think that it matters for a reason. Back when I was first getting introduced to soccer, the Netherlands was really powerful. Johan Cruyff, Neeskens, Rep, those, and when the Dutch started to fade from being the powerhouses in the world, the Dutch had an expression, and I don't know how to say it in Dutch, but it was they needed to get back to street football. And what they meant by that is kids playing against each other in the street with no parental interference, like knocking each other, learning the hard
goals
way,
made of like
getting
garbage
good,
cans.
getting good, you know, like, and we have that culture in America for baseball. We have it for basketball.
We have it for basketball
big time. Like, I believe we are the powerhouses in the world in basketball because all over America, guys are playing in the streets, and you don't get in the game unless you're the best.
Correct.
Right? And we don't have that in soccer.
Right.
And
you can't. And you got to be tough.
Right. And I'm not trying to insult anybody, but soccer is a upper middle class sport in America.
Right.
And it's a club sport that you pay to go on a travel team.
Correct.
And that's okay. But I think what I like about the new coach is he brings that with him. He brings that, no, you don't have the culture. Like, you guys want to take the day off before the World Cup. Like, you guys, even the best players are thinking, I want to rest during the World Cup.
Yeah.
They're not thinking, if I'm not in there, I'm going to lose my spot.
Correct.
You know,
He has said a lot of stuff
like that,
which we're going to chat about.
And I know people might not like that, but when I played in the Haitian, with Haitian Americans in the Clarkstown Sports Club and those guys, that league in New York City was a nasty league. You had to have it together or you didn't play.
Right.
And nobody cared if you didn't have it together. And I don't know, and I've followed club soccer. I was a soccer coach, and it's competitive. There are good players in it, and we're getting better. There's no doubt. But and I don't know that people aren't going to like this, but there's a little bit of ruthlessness missing that kind of matters. It kind of matters, right?
And that's something I
sorry.
But
you're 100% right. You're 100% right.
But when I talk about like our midfield, like as much as like we might have someone who's better than Weston McKennie, right? Taking Weston McKennie off the field, we lose the ruthlessness, right? As much as Weston McKennie he's a good player. Obviously, he's playing for the national team, right? He's playing for Juventus, great player. But our midfield is a lot of shorter guys, not big guys.
Right.
McKinney's a big guy. He stands up for guys in the midfield. You don't get away with things in his midfield. He's got that ruthlessness of, I'll throw that tackle. I don't care if it gives me a yellow card. You went after Pulisic. You went after Balogun. I'll throw this tackle.
Right, but it's in two ways too, because it's not just a ruthlessness on the field. It's also think about how few teams there was for us to play on when we were growing up.
Correct.
Right.
So we also needed that, and Brandon did have this to an extent. Brandon very much had the ruthlessness. I'm going to sit in the locker room. I'm going to plan practice.
and my seniors are going to take everybody up to the field.
And it's going to be what it's going
And
to be.
I will be there whenever I get there. Because what he was expecting was, and we had guys, I can't remember his name, Tossi?
Yep.
Right? I mean, if he, I doubt he's checking us out, but if he is, right? Like, who you get up there, and it was like, you better quit effing around, and you guys better do this. Like, no, the freshmen are going to carry the balls. No, these guys are going to be like, to give you that, if you're not going to be tough, if you're not going to be part of this team, like, you're not going to be here.
Right.
Only, you know, for me to go to college and have them go, we can't hate
So as an
everybody.
example,
You know,
when I played in these Haitian games, there would be 2 or 3 teams that show up at a field, and the winner stayed on. Right? And some of the first games I played in, because I like to believe it was because I was the only white guy on the field, but I think it was the culture. They would nutmeg me.
Mhm.
And they intentionally tried to nutmeg me, and it became a game within a game. Everybody on the other side that tried to get the ball, they tried to nutmeg me so they could laugh at me.
right.
Right? And then it spread.
Yeah.
And like, you either figure it out and don't let them embarrass you, or you just stop playing.
Almost the same thing in basketball. When you see street basketball, like
Exactly.
when somebody's able, when they do like if they do a crossover and you fall over, I mean, you see it. You watch the videos. Everybody on the sidelines is like, "Oh my gosh!" Like,
Right.
and if it happens once, you know, if it happens multiple times, like, buddy, you better.
So I
You better go somewhere else.
having been the victim of that and really wanting to play, I know what that does to you. It's like, you go home going, you know, and I'm 14, 15 years old, you go home going,
How do I stop this?
either I get over this,
Mhm.
or I'm not going to play anymore.
Correct.
And I'm not saying that's right necessarily for player development, but if it's happening everywhere, the players that rise to the top, because, you know, might have that, they've got, I don't know, like that, and, you know,
Well,
I'm
it
sure
is
people don't agree with that.
Well, but in the Pulisic documentary, one of the things that his parents talked about was like, Christian wouldn't come back inside until he juggled 100 times.
Right,
And there'd be multiple days where his mom would have to get him because there's no more lights on.
right,
And he's mad at himself because he couldn't do it. And it's that mentality
Right.
of, I'm either never going to the park again to play with those kids, and I'm going to play with somebody else, or I'm going to figure it out because I want to play with those guys.
And
And it is tough because as a kid, like, do you want to play with them because they're good, or do you want to play with them because they're embarrassed? Right? Because you could wind up playing against guys that aren't that good, that are just actually mean. And you want to be better,
And you
and
do.
that doesn't help you, right?
and
But
there,
like you're saying, the grand scheme is metagame that we're talking about.
but
This might be the way to try to, you know.
it might, I think, we don't have a strategy yet as a country for the cream rising to the top.
Right.
And all the guys who are at the top right now are going to disagree with me. But, you know, I remember when the NASL first started, I would go down and play in Cosmopolitan Soccer League games. And then I would watch NASL games and go, the guys I played against are better than the guys I'm watching on TV. Like, what the heck's going on? These guys are not the best players in America.
Right.
Like, you know, Lauren Green and Medrick Innocent, and there's some names that people know. Tommy Mulroy. These guys are better than the guys I was watching, and they never made it because the mindset was still through college, through a scholarship or something, right?
You gotta know the right people.
Right.
You just gotta get seen. You could spend your whole life playing street soccer, but if nobody ever sees you play it,
Right.
you're not gonna go anywhere.
Right.
And
Well,
that,
and
that does
there's
suck.
something to that. I don't know.
But another thing about culture, so we're recording this with the big game,
Mhm.
right?
The game is happening
The
right
game
now.
is
It's actually
happening
right now.
If we were to
Probably
say,
halftime. Ohio State's still winning.
if Ohio State played a friendly, do you think it would sell out? Okay, the U.S. men's national team plays friendlies; they don't sell out. Why?
Right.
Right.
One is arguably way higher level than the other.
Right.
Right, like
It's a
college,
culture. It's a culture.
professional. Exactly.
Well, but the thing that makes it hard, and we've talked about, and then you finish your point, is the men don't have a home field. Now there are stadiums they play in around the country that feel like a home field, but like Ohio State, it's really fans in Ohio, max 3 hour drive.
Right.
You can be there.
Correct.
Right. The World Cup opener for the United States is in Seattle.
Correct.
There are 3 fans doing a podcast. So talk about the level of fanship. That one, if we didn't even talk about ticket prices, if that just went out the window, it would be tough for us to get ourselves to
Correct. And that's another problem the U.S. has that other countries don't. Because when you look at other countries in Europe, they're the size of a state in the United States. So they can have a home field.
Like England, they were hitchhiking
Correct.
to Wembley.
Right, because if England goes, our home stadium is Wembley, that's where we're going to play our home games. So it's like a 3 hour train ride for the longest time to get there. Right, that's nothing. But if the U.S. goes, our home field's Seattle. Anyone that lives on the East Coast, it's what, a 12-hour flight
Right.
to go to a game? Not going to
I
happen.
think it's like 6 hours.
You know, you're in Germany, we'll make our home field in Berlin.
I mean, another thing we used to say, which I'm not sure how much truth to it there is, but it's, start a conversation is, imagine the guys who make linebacker in the NFL, physically, their speed, their strength, their athleticism, being as good with the ball as Christian Pulisic.
Correct.
How good would American soccer be?
Right.
Right? And so that's just, I just tell it that way to get the idea of like, we used to think, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but we used to think all around the world, the best athletes are playing in Brazil. The best athletes are playing in Germany. They're playing soccer.
Right.
In America, are our best athletes playing soccer. And I know everybody on the U.S. men's national team now who hears this is going to rise and scream, and they have a reason to be mad at me, right? That's okay. But because I don't mean them, I mean like just the mega game, the development of players.
But you
right?
also have to think of, look at Brazil, look at Germany, look at Argentina, look at the Netherlands. Kids are playing soccer at 4 years old.
Right.
In the streets.
Right. And that's
What are kids playing in the streets here?
Right.
They're doing those.
And they're playing, the two-hand touch football or flag football, baseball in their cul-de-sac.
Correct.
Right? Their dad bought them a basketball hoop. They're standing in their garage shooting.
Right, like
you can't stand in your garage and play soccer by yourself.
Well, it's correct. So one of the things that's not different from your generation to our generation, right? When you think about just owning on. When you grew up, you said you were one of the few like Americans, right? Whatever that. Right? Well, when we would play in Newa Park, it was Job Corps kids.
Yep.
Who were a lot of kids from Jamaica.
Yep.
Right? There was a lot of international players. It was very hard for us to. I don't remember playing with lots of other kids from the high school unless we invited them.
Right.
And even the summer league we played in, there were 8 teams. 4 of them were basically people from other countries. There was a team that was basically all Italian people.
Yep.
Now they were born in America, but they were all Italian. They're all Italian families, right? And you've got the one team that was basically like all England and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, of course they're better than us.
Right.
Their culture, their mindset is, this is what we're supposed to do.
Right.
This is our sport.
Mhm.
Like we're not. England doesn't have American football.
Right.
They don't play it. As much as the NFL keeps trying to get it over there and the games sell out.
Right.
Like, of course the games are going to sell. They got nothing better to do. Like,
Well,
they're
it's
like,
it's like one thing that's happening.
what are they going to do? Like, there's no Premier League games. There's no national team game. There's a game at Wembley.
Right.
Let's go to Wembley. Right?
Yeah. So this let's take it. Oneana taking and if this is too much of a tangent, we'll go back and finish. We can go this way, but this is for you. I want to know about how did the Oneana Soccer Club, travel soccer, come to exist?
I know the guys that formed it, but I don't know the history. Because they never told me. It was a bunch of guys in Oneana that started to put Saturday, like John Biggs from the bank, started to put Saturday morning youth soccer together. But I don't know much more than that.
Kind of just grew.
Right, because one of the things you think about is if like and I'll bring this to so when I was coaching at the high school, when they made the section playoffs, I don't remember his last name. It was not McHugh, the other Kyle. There was a younger Kyle.
Okay.
Chirag, does that sound right?
Don't know. Sorry.
His mom was a big soccer person.
Okay.
And he had Con, he had an older brother named Con or whatever. And he's a senior and he's playing at Blackwatch in Albany, right?
Oh, you mean the guys that lived out in Angel Heights, the McDonald's?
No, not
okay.
Corey.
Okay.
There was one kid who was older than you, one kid who was
Because the dad was from England and he played hard.
Yes.
Okay.
And like we're in the final whatever.
Yeah, that was
And it's,
dated in.
Yes,
it's
yes,
88,
thank you.
yep.
Yep.
And we're sitting there before the game, the day before the game, and he's expressing to me, this senior, he's expressing to me his frustrations around all the stuff that's happening. And of course, like, we were diehard high school. We didn't get us, right? And as I'm sitting there having a conversation with him, he literally looks at me and he goes, "This doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go play at Blackwatch. My coach is going to recruit me on a Blackwatch. I don't care about this."
Right.
And my brain went, everyone with your mentality should sit the bench then. Because there are guys who are dying, and this is the only time that they're going to play, but like he's also right in college coaches aren't looking at you in high school soccer.
Right.
Because they can watch you in the club, and until we can get more guys in the club, you and I play, and there wasn't a club. That's just why this is my full circle, going back to Oneana Soccer Club. I get why they tried to do that, but it never was able to grow to be big enough to have good enough players
Right.
to be able to go compete against some of
You
those.
didn't have the
teams.
population density.
Right, we didn't have the population.
It's,
density.
the bigger cities had more
Right.
of the club teams.
Right.
And it's just how it
Some things I would be interested in hearing from people out there who might be listening are the college. I've been watching some college soccer because Ian McIntyre played at Hartwick, and he's was not a colleague of mine, but we knew each other. Now he's the head coach at Syracuse. They recently won a national championship. He's from England, right? I would be interested in how many American kids are the top tier in the good college programs. Because I still feel like when I was paying attention to Oneonta State and Hartwick, when they were really good, most of the players on both of those teams were from Europe.
Mhm.
They weren't American players. And I don't know if that's changed.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know either. I know that the men's national team has one player who played in college,
Right?
and he's not even on. He's
Right.
probably not going to make the roster. Patrick Gajimon, he played D3 at Rhode Island State or something, and then transferred to somewhere else. And now,
Like how many guys on the men's team, the U.S. men's team, have an American? They must have some like European or Latin American influence in their lives to like even have gotten that far.
well, you even look at the roster itself and the rules that FIFA has for declaring national whatever,
Right.
national C or whatever for your team. Balgan
You're
is
allowed.
because his grandma's like from New York City.
Right.
Dest is something else because he's from the Netherlands.
Right.
Robinson's from England.
Mhm.
Like, there's a lot of guys on our squad that
And that's not that's not wrong, but until we have a culture that builds those players. So way back to the first question you asked me, I think one of the things that's changed since I was in it till now is we've gotten closer to that as a country. You know what I mean? Like I was an oddity to be playing soccer in high school because I was an American.
Mhm.
That's not true anymore. And the people that remember, like even my younger brother, who's a good soccer player, he'll remember. Like, there was 2 guys from America on my high school team the 3 years I played, and the other guy was the goalkeeper.
Which is something that the U.S. has always been good at making.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good goal.
But I'll push back though, because from a cultural stance, so at the centers that I work in and I go through, it is a guarantee that if I have a conversation with anyone who has any kind of an accent that gives me the impression that they have immigrated here,
Right.
and it doesn't mean that some of them weren't born here. I don't know any of that information, but like you get it. It is with 100%. I can ask them about soccer.
Right.
They will be able to tell me,
Right.
and they will be surprised that I'm the one who asked them.
Right.
I have not had a single conversation with any of my coworkers. Granted, even with it being a female-dominated field, like you still have Ohio State, you still have no football. You still like, and amongst my friends out here, so even the guy friends that I have, no one. They went to a pub to watch the women's game because the women were in the final.
So, right.
And it wasn't. I don't think it was because they like soccer. It was because the women are good,
They go to
and America's going to win something, and we want to watch this and go to a pub and do it. But they couldn't have told you.
And the same is true in reverse, I think. So, you look at basketball. Like the world looks at us as like basketball powerhouse, rightly, and there's a reason for that. But who comes from another country that makes it to the NBA, and what happens when they go back to their country? So we've done that sort of in reverse. Like we brought Franz Beckenbauer to the Cosmos, Pele to the Cosmos, to try and like do that influence thing. And the same thing happens in reverse, right? LeBron James goes to China,
Right. Yeah. So right. Well, it's what we did to Messi.
Right.
What the NFL's trying to do overseas is like if we can get it there and you can experience it,
Right.
and you need that, and to go to the culture thing. And Pat McAfee said this. Pat McAfee's show believes that football is the greatest sport in the world.
Okay.
They open it. I mean, that is what their show is about every day.
Right.
So you think about a game that really, granted we've changed it, is played on Sundays. Yes, we have Monday Night Football now. We have Thursday and Black Friday, but really it was just played on Sundays. They managed to talk about it every day, right?
Right.
How do we get? And this is not an actual question, but how do we get our country to where we can talk about soccer every day?
And it's certainly taking longer than I thought, because when I was, first, I thought in a generation we'll be there. But we are a lot far along. We were way down the road compared to when I was there. You know, like
when you look at this coming up World Cup,
right.
where do you think we finish realistically?
Like so, in my mind, the answer to that question is when the U.S. made the World Cup when I was first at it, I had no aspirations for them. Now, if they don't make it to the round of 16, I'm going to be disappointed. And that's a big difference.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's actually a good place to start before we down there. Is what was the when we held the World Cup? What did '94 feel like?
Yeah,
Like, what was the media talking about? What was it like?
Right.
Were we like in '94? What was like if the U.S. didn't finish here, we did bad? What do you remember? Or was it like, oh, we got out of the group stage, this is amazing?
I can't even remember. I don't think we got out of the group stage in '94, did we? I don't even know. Sorry. And I went to the games. I can't even remember.
We're all bad fans. This is why we.
I was 3. You cannot tell me I was a bad fan.
Right. I mean,
I was 3 years old.
Well, here we. But this is also the nice part. Is I told her we're just going to talk. I don't do prep work for this.
right.
Because I'm wondering, like, so to me, for this one coming up, based on how I've seen us play, based on the way the pots are broken up,
Right.
and the way that FIFA has said the top 4 teams, if they
No,
win their groups.
we were in a group with. You don't even believe one of our group. Romania.
Right. I remember that.
We were in a group with Romania, Switzerland, us, and Colombia.
Right.
And our win was against Colombia.
Right, I remember
Colombia
that.
scored the own goal.
Right.
And then the guy went back home and killed him.
Right. That was not right.
Okay, so
And it was people that killed him, right?
Yeah,
Or was it the,
I can't remember.
But I'm just saying, I don't know if the conspiracy was that the government had.
No,
killed him,
I don't
or if it was that the
Well,
fans. I don't know.
it's a little bit of both. It's
But it wasn't like a cartel.
Right.
It was like fans were.
But looking at this World Cup with the 48 teams, the expanded groups, and the fact that the top 4 teams, if they win their group, will not play each other until the semifinals.
Right.
Right?
We could make it there.
Yes, the new rule is that if out of group stage, the top 4 ranked teams
Yes.
all have qualified.
Yes.
Which I'm also
Which
assuming,
right now
I'm also
is-
assuming if the top 2 ranked teams get qualified, they will also have them on
Which right now is Argentina, England, Brazil, and France. I believe.
so.
Or the 1 through 4 ranks in FIFA, I believe, because I believe Argentina is second, and that surprised me.
I thought FIFA was. I thought they were
Right.
second one, but let's see.
Um,
Yeah, you're right. So no, Brazil just got bumped. It is Spain, Argentina, France, and England.
Right. So you can see after Canada, the 4 flags.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Spain, Argentina. Yeah. Okay. There it is. So with them, if they all win, and most likely going to win their groups, they're in 4 different corners of the bracket, which means the U.S. realistically only has to play one of them to make the semifinals.
And to make the final, you got to beat both.
You got to be sure. You maybe not, because
Right.
if
Right, somebody
Spain
else.
gets out and they play Norway, let's say Norway is one of the teams that they play, and Norway beats them, which is highly possible,
Right.
right? Now Spain's gone, so now you just have to beat Norway, who arguably is FIFA ranked worse,
Right.
right? And it's not happened like last World Cup, Morocco. Nobody was expecting them to get to where they got to,
Right.
right? So there's that chance that one of those teams gets upset.
Right.
Then for the U.S., maybe you don't play a top 4 ranked team until the semifinals. Maybe you don't even play one to the finals if you make it, because they just lose out in the bracket, and it's like maybe it's the U.S. versus Croatia in the semifinals on our side of the bracket,
Right.
and that's a very easy. That's not like an easy game to win.
All right. I can't speak for the players on the team, but one of the other things that's changed in my mind is when the U.S. used to make the World Cup, we were like, just don't get embarrassed. Just don't get embarrassed.
Right.
Play a good game. If you tie somebody or you lose 1-0 to somebody and you look good, yay.
Mhm.
I don't have that feeling this time. I have the feeling of no, we can beat these teams.
Right.
Yes.
Right? Because I watched the Americans play, and I've said this to you guys before. They are a lot better than they used to be.
Yes.
And I know everybody else is getting better. They are a lot better. They are really connected to each other. They move the ball around in tight spaces quickly. I'm like, this is not like an American team I remember, right?
So
I actually
I remember watching Uchian Yewu play live against Argentina.
Right.
What's the first thing that they did? They knocked the ball all the way back to him, and he just bombed it. And I remember this, we were watching live in the Meadowlands.
Yes.
He just bombed it up the field and went out of bounds for a throw. And I just remember yelling, why are we still doing this?
So-
you're playing against Lionel Messi in Argentina. That's not going to work.
So one of the things that I think I have noticed with Pochettino taking over is he came in, he looked at the roster, and he was like, "This is the formation you guys normally play. Let's play it." and we were losing, and we were drawing, and when we win a game here, and then we lose, and then we get to a friendly, and we play South Korea, and he goes, keep that formation, let's try it, and South Korea scores 2 goals in the first half, and then coming out in that second half, Pochettino goes, we're done with this formation.
Correct.
We're going to try this formation. Since that change, I think the U.S. can beat anybody in the world. With how well we play in that new
Pochettino
3-5-2 or whatever it is.
Correct. Because he looked at the players that we had and the way that we're playing and noticed, like, you have these wingbacks where under Berhalter we were trying to take the wingbacks and go all the way up the field. And it's a lot on your guys.
Yeah, so let's put them in the midfield.
Right, and then on the counter you're getting crushed because guys are but why?
And that's where we got killed.
So why not just go, like, you guys are already there.
Look at
Learn how to defend when you don't have these guys.
So let's go to the 2022 World Cup, right? We make it out of group stage. We play the Netherlands. How does the Netherlands beat us? 2 of their goals come on the counterattack.
Yeah, they go down the flank, and then they knock the ball to the top of the box.
And why is the flank open? Because our wingbacks are making runs, who now don't make those runs in the 3-5-2 because your midfielder wings. So Dest and Anthony Robinson play in the midfield,
Right.
but they can still play defense. Then they're going to.
Right.
But now if they're up the field and we turn the ball over, it's not 3 guys attacking 2.
Right.
It's 3 guys attacking 3.
Mhm.
And we're not outnumbered. Or, it's 3 guys attacking 4 of us.
Correct.
Because our guys are still back there because Tim Ream is never going to make one of those runs.
No.
Because it's not his
He's
job.
just going to play the ball.
Chris Richards isn't going to make that run. Neither is Miles Robinson.
Right.
Because they don't do it. Chris Richards plays at Crystal Palace. He goes up for corner kicks. Okay, and set pieces. That's fine.
Right.
With the way Sebastian Berhalter delivers Chris Richards the ball, go.
Right, you should be
Right? Like
somebody else
that's literally
cover
one
for
of our set piece plays is
Right.
Berhalter tries to hit Chris Richards.
Correct. And it's working so well that it might be the reason that both of them make a starting spot.
Right.
Or at least
Right.
Berhalter.
Miles Robinson, when he plays for Cincinnati, he doesn't make runs up the field. He doesn't even go up all the time for corner kicks.
Correct. You don't have to.
Tim Ream, yes, because he's big.
Right.
Right? That's fine. But for us to go, we have a formation we can play where our wingbacks can get involved, but we don't get pressed hard on the counterattack, makes us so much more of a threat because we already have such a strong midfield.
We do. So let's go back to what you said about, like, when you asked him, like, what was the expectation for us to get on or whatever.
Yeah.
Was 2022 the first time that the United States was a 2 in a group or no? Because I remember watching World Cups going, we were always the 3rd team to get put in a pot.
So,
And you were always thinking to yourself, you're gonna have to beat at least one team better.
So the two that I can really remember are the one I recorded like all the games for you and Chris.
Yep, that was in South Africa.
The South African one, we were a 3rd. The one we didn't make.
Yep.
And then the most recent one, which we were, or not the most recent one where we had Germany, Portugal, and Ghana. We were a 3rd.
Yeah, that was what I remember because
And
we had a chance to beat Portugal. We had beaten Portugal
until
and then all Michael
got
Bradley
the
had
ball.
to do was kick the ball all the way down the field, and he just tried to dribble as far as he could, and then he got stripped, and they went up the field, knocked the ball in, and he banged the ball in the net, and I just screamed. We were at Eric's house. I was like, I don't understand why this guy's still playing on our team. Like, I don't care that Daddy's the coach. Like, you need to not exist.
And then we finally beat the Demons of Ghana.
Yes.
In that World Cup, that was the U.S. either ties or loses to them all the time.
All the time.
And everyone's like, well, why do we always have Ghana? And it's like, well, the way the World Cup draws used to happen was there could only be one from each group.
Yes.
So
in the group. Explain that because it's American. People might not understand how this is going to happen.
The old rules for the World Cup were each group could only have one from each conference. I'm going to say
Confederation.
Confederation. So you can only have one CONCACAF, one Common Bowl, one Oceania, one AFC, one
UEFA. Yeah.
No, UEFA was the only one you could have 2.
No, UEFA. Right, correct. UEFA could have one more.
Yes, UEFA you could have 2, which is how you ended up with Germany and Portugal.
But you could only get the second one if you didn't have the.
If there was no,
they couldn't go anywhere else. They could duplicate. Yeah.
So the U.S. being a 3rd team normally in a group, meaning that, okay, we've picked this team, we now have a CONCACAF team, we already have 2 UEFA teams. That last team has to come from someone not CONCACAF,
right,
not UEFA, and then you look at Common Bowl, most of those teams are like the best in the world. They're already in groups.
Correct.
So they're leading groups.
Right.
So then you go, okay, so no Common Bowl is left. So then it's Asia, Oceania only gets one team.
Right.
They're most likely not going
Yeah,
to
we were
So now you
always
have-
playing an Asia team.
So now you have
and
Asia
an
or Africa.
team.
Right.
Yep.
And who used to be really good in Africa?
Ghana.
Yeah. So of course they're going to be the team that gets thrown in your group.
Correct.
Because they're like the only
Because there
team
was like two
making
teams
it.
that qualified, and they had
Correct.
Yeah. No, 100%.
It's like Ivory Coast, Ghana, when we were growing up, were the two teams
Right.
that would get out. And now it's like Senegal's really good,
Mhm.
right? Egypt has really good strikers. I don't know what else they have because I don't follow, but I know
Right.
they have Omar Marmoush,
Yep.
who's a phenomenal striker, and they have Mohamed Salah,
Yeah, Mohamed Salah,
who's
Right.
maybe top 5 strikers in the world,
easily.
kind of thing.
Like, kind of ever. Well, and so when we think about 94 to now, I do think that objectively, if you back up, we are actually, whether people think it's serious or not, we are actually having a discussion of, could the United States win the World Cup?
We
Now,
never
it's-
had that
now it's
discussion
a
back then.
stretch for sure.
Right.
But at least, like, if you were to have that conversation at literally any time before now, I mean, I guess maybe the last one it was like, right? But
The
in
last one, I
94,
would have
there's no way.
realistically thought we could have made top 8.
Yeah.
And this one, I think if we don't make top 8, we failed. That's my personal opinion.
Right. That
Like
could
if
be the
I
tough
think
one.
we're not in the
Top eight
top
teams,
8,
yeah.
top 8 games, we're one of those.
Right,
We're playing in
right.
the quarterfinals.
Right.
I don't think the U.S. performed as well as they could have.
Right.
Now that being said, we could get out of group stage. That first game before the round of 16 could be a nobody, and then our round of 16 game could be like Argentina. There's
Also,
a
how
good
did-
chance we lose that game.
Right.
It is.
Right.
What is the other big difference that we have to think about? We haven't talked about is the difference in the way you access the games.
Yeah, that so and that's helped the culture in America. You know,
Because like we can, I mean,
I never
I'm looking
could
at
watch a
social
game.
media right now for the pots right here. Like
Uh,
you didn't.
We couldn't watch soccer.
So how did you know who was playing where?
I only knew because the guys I hung out with were Israeli and Haitian, and they knew.
So
I didn't know.
So in '94, when you were going to get tickets to a game, did you know there were? How did you know there was even a game at Foxborough?
No, TV and the press. Yeah, you know.
Okay, so
right.
but you didn't know who was playing.
Right, but so more importantly, go back to '72, which is the first World Cup I ever saw,
Mhm.
which is a long time ago. And people who are soccer fans, that's a famous World Cup. Holland, the total football team, played Germany, and they had Cruyff and Neeskens and Rep, and they were going to win, and the Germans beat them. You know, there's a couple of penalty kicks, great game. Nobody knew about those games except the underground culture of New York City that I was in. I only knew that you could buy tickets to go see it on the big screen in Madison Square Garden because my friends were Israeli, and they were like,
They were doing it.
well, they were doing it. And when I went to watch the game, he told me who Johan Cruyff was. I didn't even know who he was, and he was in disbelief because Johan Cruyff
Right.
was like the greatest soccer player
Well,
in the
it would
world.
be like
and we were watching.
it would
and I'm
be like
so
it would
what?
be like our
Right.
generation going like, oh, hey, do you know who like who Harry Kane is?
Right.
Right.
And someone going, no, like someone who
Lionel Messi.
plays.
You say like Lionel Messi.
Yes,
shouldn't be
and
there,
someone's-
people are like don't know.
Right.
But if someone
Right.
plays soccer like he did, like you're playing with some of your friends here in Ohio, and you're playing soccer with them, and you go, hey, I'm actually going to go to the Columbus Crew game because Lionel Messi's going to be there, and people go, who's that?
Right. Yeah.
You're playing soccer, and you don't know who this is.
Correct.
But back then, how would he know?
And to give you an idea of like how that formed my opinion of soccer, it is still hard for me to believe. I still can't believe it that Christian Pulisic is the best player on Milan.
Right.
Right? There's no way that an American is the best player on
Correct.
Milan
What-
because
You could argue Mike
Maybe he
Mignon.
is,
You
right?
could argue
Right,
Mike
right.
Mignon,
But
the goalie.
But I think
But the point is,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Milan is one of the great teams in the world of
AC Milan.
football.
Yeah.
There's no way an American can even be playing on Milan.
Correct.
And now,
Well,
like,
and the other
so-
thing is he kind of came out of nowhere because
Right.
the
Chelsea stopped
first
playing
time
him.
you heard about Pulisic,
right,
he's playing for Borussia Dortmund, which is not a bad team.
No.
And you're hearing about him, and almost the second he comes into the spotlight, he's signed for Chelsea.
right,
And we're all having that moment where we're sitting there and we're going,
Holy crap, he's playing on a
an
team.
American, like we've
Right.
had Americans in the Premier League,
right. But
Fulham,
Right.
Everton.
yeah, Harks.
Tottenham.
I know them.
Right, like, and yes, Tottenham is whatever, but being a Spurs fan, like they're not.
And-
it's
and
not
the
a Man
goalkeepers
U,
aside.
It's not right. You know, but
Yes.
so to sit here and go like, the blue, Chelsea Blues, like,
Right.
he's gonna be on this, and then for him to do the things that he did, and then for us to be having a discussion, right? But then all of that American wake-up call that came with it, which is, yeah, he's there, but he's making it worse. Yeah, he's there, but he's not. Yeah, he's
Right.
there. And so we're sitting here going like, yes, there's an argument that he might not be the best player on AC Milan, but there's also like the fact that there's an argument to be made that like no, he might be the best player
So
on this team.
here's the thing: watching them when he is on the field, Milan is better, a lot better,
Right.
than when he is not on the field. There's a reason why their head coach was pissed that he was going to possibly miss the Derby game.
Yes.
Right. So when I read that, I don't know what you guys thought, but my thought was, I can't believe like an American player.
Yeah, think
We're
about
sharing those posts all
yes,
over.
yes.
The
Think
American
about
soccer
think
community
about
is
when
sharing
you were
everywhere.
when you're growing up watching soccer, like even in '94. Would a coach in the Premier League, Serie A, yell at the head coach of the United States for
Nope.
not managing our players well enough?
No.
It wouldn't happen.
Mm.
And now there were 4 of them.
Oh, yeah.
There was
They would be
4
like,
of
I
them.
didn't even
This
know
window,
you were gone.
Right.
This window, Chris Richards, Crystal Palace's coach, was like, no, you're not getting him.
Right.
Tyler Adams, coach at Bournemouth, you're not getting him. Christian Pulisic from AC Milan,
Not getting
you're not getting him.
Right.
Florian Balogun
Yeah.
from Monaco, nope, they're too important
Right,
for us right now.
right.
You're not taking
Right.
them.
And there's a big piece of me that still doesn't think that's real.
And for people
Right.
and for people to be like, well, that's not fair. The U.S. has to prepare for the World Cup. We need them for the friendlies because it's the only way they're going to play. Part of me goes, you're right. The U.S. isn't playing qualifying games, so the only way we're going to know how these guys play is qualifying. But look how they're playing,
Correct.
right? And I get that chemistry is a big thing. Christian Pulisic works really well with Rafael Leao and Salamakers at AC Milan.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yep.
Right? Tyler Adams works really well in Bournemouth's midfield. Chris Richards works phenomenally with the back three for Crystal Palace.
Mhm.
But Chris
That's the
Richards
other thing is he's playing in
So
the back
I'd
three
like
for
to,
Dallas.
so,
Yes.
for me as a player, somebody who played, believing you can win is a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Believing it, and I wonder if the guys like John Harkes and the guy Balboa,
Mhm.
and those guys from that era, and I'd love to hear from them. If they're
Eric Winalda
listening,
talks every
everyone-
once in a while on things.
if they really believe they could win, right?
Right.
And I think one of the ways the American side has changed is maybe not everybody on the field, even though they'll all say it to the camera.
Right.
But if you're a player, but there are guys out there now who are going to be mad if they don't win.
Correct.
Well,
They believe
and
they
Eric
can
Winalda-
win.
and
Yes.
you can see the guys that believe they can win
Right.
when you watch them in friendlies.
Right.
Watch Dest with the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? All of a
Right.
sudden he's like
I'm going there.
He's like,
Right.
I'm gonna go here and watch how I get there. And it's like these types of moves. Guys were doing all the time. They're doing like the behind the back heel flicks
Right.
to guys as they're making runs. And it's like you don't see that in guys that don't believe they
There's
can win.
confidence.
Well,
in them, right.
the confidence is there.
Right.
They're like,
Right.
we
We can do
can't
this.
stop me.
We can do this.
I'm
Right.
doing what I want to do right now.
Correct. Because in any competition, when it's two sides, it ultimately somehow takes this form. There's an aggressor and there's a defender. I think about it when I play match when you're playing the deck. Are you the boogeyman or are you the person they're trying to stop?
Right.
And you can tell the players we have on the field who are going, you are beneath me. It's your responsibility to make sure I don't get to do the thing that I do. I'm going to do my thing and hope that you can stop me.
Right.
Right? And when I think about, so I listened to, who is it? So it's the CBS people. It's the European girl. It's not the Robbies. It's the other one. They do like the CBS Galazzo people or whatever, right? And they do the Champions League. It's the Champions League broadcast team. They had a podcast, and they had Eric Winalda on, they had Tony Neal on, and they were having all those conversations about soccer. While they never asked that question directly, Eric Winalda did make comments, and Viola did make comments that were alluding to, we're not going to step on the field and get embarrassed.
Right.
When we went
Which is
to
a
Europe,
big difference between
Right.
I'm going to step on the field and I'm going to kick ass.
correct,
Right,
exactly.
right,
And
right.
when they went and they got signed overseas,
Right.
it was the same mentality.
Right.
I'm representing America. Our job is to not get embarrassed.
Right.
Which that's the polar opposite of we believe we can win.
Right. 'Cause
That's the like guys
Yes,
we're going to
it's
the
what
tournament.
happens when you play to not lose.
Right.
You lose.
There was a moment when Hart scored the goal in the Premier League.
Mhm.
And I remember making it in the papers as an American actually scored in the EPL. That was kind of silly if you think about that. Like, of course Americans can score in the
Right.
EPL. But back then it was like, I couldn't believe it.
Right.
Like, not only did he make it to the EPL, but he scored a goal.
But now think about it. You got that article, right? Like, holy crap, America scored. Now we have the Tyler Adams scored a goal for Bournemouth against Man City.
Right.
This was a couple like
Oh yeah, now it's like every week it's like no, the following players. Yeah,
But you ready for this? Is the article they give us? Tyler Adams scores first ever Premier League goal, but it doesn't matter because Erling Haaland exists.
yeah. No,
So it's just like who cares that he scored?
Right.
But it's like no, it's a big deal. It's his first Premier League goal.
Right.
Like we can't overshadow that. Like the man played a whole season
right.
at Bournemouth and never scored. Then played at Leeds. or played at Leeds, never scored, and then back at Bournemouth, he gets a goal. He tied the game 1-1. Granted, Erling Haaland scored like 4 minutes later. So like, I get the statement of the headline, like Erling Haaland exists as a person, but you can't say that he scored his first ever Premier League goal as a defensive midfielder.
Correct.
It is changing. I've told you guys this story, but when I went to my first professional soccer game, it was Lazio versus Santos. Lazio was one of the premier Italian teams.
Yeah, they still are.
Right? And Santos was the premier Brazilian team. And it was a friendly at Roosevelt Stadium in New Jersey. And there might be people who remember that. And I sat with my Israeli friends down in the corner. And Pele was playing. And it's the first time I'd ever seen Pele live. And the ball bounced into the stands and into my hands. And Pele was on the touchline calling for it. And I just threw it to him. And my friends went nuts that I would do that. And I didn't even know, it didn't even matter to me.
Right.
And they couldn't believe that I was like, I gave the ball to Pele. It was like I was a god. I was like, what do you, and at that moment I understood, I didn't understand what this game was about to these people. Because to me, I was just throwing the ball back on the field. And I'm like, what you do? You just throw the ball back to him. And they're like, that's Pele?
Yeah,
and I was like,
right there.
so?
That's the guy, yeah.
So?
Yeah.
And we've changed as a country that way, right? Like if I was at a game now, and I threw the ball back, sorry to put the pressure on you, Christian Pulisic, but if one, or Tyler Adams, I'd be like, that's Tyler Adams, right? That's a big difference.
Well, that was like when we went to the game, 4 years ago.
Yep.
And where we were sitting, we could see them warming up, and we could see the guys come to the touchline, for corner kicks on that side of the field. There was that moment for me where I was like, holy crap, Christian Pulisic's right there.
Yeah, right.
Like that's Christian Pulisic. And, and it's like, I'm watching the goalies warm up, and I'm like, because I was a goalie, I'm like, holy crap, that's Matt Turner. Matt Turner plays for Nottingham Forest, right at the time. And he was doing pretty well at Nottingham Forest. And I'm sitting here going like, oh my God, I'm watching, like a Premier League goalie warm up.
Right. And I never had that.
Like 10 yards. And there's
I never had that with our American team.
So I went to watch us when we played Japan in Columbus.
Yeah, you were on TV, right? Yeah, I saw you a couple times. When I look at the kids, right, and so this is kind of like the 6 of one, half dozen of the other. The positive part was there was a lot of people there. They're just seeing stuff they're watching, which is good because that's the only way you're going to grow the sport. Is if people who are kind of interested show up and they have a great time and they want to follow it. The downside to it wasn't a stadium packed with people all wearing jerseys going, these are our guys.
Right.
But from a kid's standpoint,
what do you mean the guy had a Wondolowski jersey? From a kid's standpoint, there were way more kids wearing Christian Pulisic jerseys from multiple teams. We didn't grow up wearing US.
I wouldn't because I couldn't even have told you the names of the guys.
Right. Well, because think about when we were growing up.
That one, the Donovan one, the McBride one.
Correct.
Some of the first jerseys I bought. That was a Holden one that I bought. This Pulisic. Think about how many jerseys I've had before I got him. Right? And like I'm wearing off-brand Altidore striker. This is like Fabian Johnson, who didn't make it.
Go back to '94. Who would you bought one of?
Right.
Alexi Lalas.
We looked at Ronaldo, Brad Friedel.
Like Brad Friedel, I could see getting a jersey.
Yeah.
If you're a goalie, that's right. Well, because most people that are soccer, but most people that are soccer fans aren't. They're not fans of the goalies. Right. Like think about the jerseys that sell the most. They're your strikers, your best players. Right. Like Emi Martinez, he won the World Cup for Argentina. How many jerseys do you think of his sold when they won compared to Messi? Right. Like, or what was the striker? Messi, Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
Dino Santamaria.
Yeah.
Any of them. How many of those do you think sold over Emi Martinez?
Right.
Even Lozano in the back on defense probably sold more than Emi Martinez.
Yeah. No, but it's definitely been a big switch to see that. And I think the other thing to kind of go back to something we were talking about is when you hear people like Wallace, like Donovan, like Alter, like when they get it and they talk about, we were tougher, we didn't take breaks, we didn't take stuff. The counter to that is you were not in big clubs.
Right.
And those of you who did make big clubs, they let you go.
Right.
You guys weren't in a situation where, and that's, I'm not even making the argument that's the right one, which is you're not even playing as many games as them. Because there's Christian Pulisic just playing nonstop.
Right.
Even if you give you guys the same number of games, these head coaches are going,
I got my multi-million-dollar contract on the line.
Right.
I can't let him go because he's my best player.
Right.
And if he gets hurt, which you saw for Canada, look what happened to Jesse Marsh when the best left back in the world. I think it's just all the time.
It's not Davidson. It's
Alfonso Davies.
Thank you.
Yeah, when Alfonso Davies blew his ACL out, and it's like, dude, you're in the World Cup window. And you took a guy, just like our best player, and you just played him in a nonsense friendly, and he blew, like, we can't have that kind of stuff. So I also think that has been a big difference. And then the other biggest difference, unless you make
Well, that's why I was upset with Pochettino against Uruguay. We're leading 4-1, and he subs in Florian Balogun.
Yeah.
In Florian Balogun.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like our striker position is locked down, but with the way guys have been playing, I think it's locked down.
You could have gone to your fourth guy in the bench.
You could have you had Haji right in. You had Haji right in. Play Pepe.
Right.
Pepe has shown that if he comes off the bench, he can score. See if he can still do it.
Correct.
Right? Don't put on your starter in a game that's already 4-1 that has seen a pretty nasty. Now, granted, Bentoncourt, I'm going to try to give him the benefit of the doubt. His foot rolls over the ball. But it's a tackle that
It was a gross tackle.
it doesn't need to be thrown.
Yeah.
It's a red card, but it's not one where I was like, holy crap, this man's trying to kill one of our players.
Yeah.
Right? It was, I went for the ball, my foot rolled over the ball, my studs went right into the side of your foot. But why put in someone that could be starting in the World Cup that could have just been removed from the World Cup?
Right, and instead of risking having
Yes, correct. Instead of playing somebody to just give him a cap. Put a guy who's never played before. We had guys on that roster that had never been on a field before.
Never had it. Yeah.
Throw them on there. It's 4-1. There's 15 minutes left.
Well, so and there's another big difference between here and '94, which is apparently the theme of this podcast is the difference between now and '94. We had, and we've talked about this, but we'll talk about it now. In the last 12 months, 70 U.S. soccer players have been called up to the men's national team.
Okay.
Now, there's still an argument to be made that, like, how many of the 70 were there?
How many have played?
But do you have any idea what the number was in '94?
So that's the big difference. Like there wasn't any. I didn't care. Didn't know. Like the fact that you guys even know
Social
that
media
they
tells us that.
they what their tactics are is a difference. I never knew their tactics.
I mean,
I
and
didn't
I
care
had
about the tactics.
we had ChatGPT too, so like I went through and had it pull it, and you read through some of the names, and some of the names are like you're gonna look at it, and you're gonna like Benjamin Kremansky, like
Kremansky. Oh, he's really good though. He was playing for Inter Miami, and he got traded to. He's overseas now because he was playing a game, and he's 17.
Jawan Jones.
Don't know who that is, but
Right.
Kremansky is 17, and he's a goalie.
Right, but I'm saying like some of these players are like, yeah, they got called up, but like
Kremansky. Now I'll go right now on record in saying it. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Same with Kevin Sullivan.
Jalen Neal,
Right.
Same with Kevin Sullivan from the
Indiana
U17.
Vasilev. You know
That's a hockey player.
No, he's not.
No, that's not a hockey player.
ChatGPT got it wrong.
But you could see, right now. I'll go on record. Kremansky, if he chooses to continue playing for the U.S. because I know he's got dual citizenship as well, and they're allowed one-time switch before they play so many games. And Kevin Sullivan, keep an eye on them. They have a potential to be like the next big striker or midfield players for us. They're young. They're both. One is 16. Kremansky is 17, I believe. Kevin Sullivan is 16. But
That's crazy though. I mean, we're looking at there was 70 guys that we've called up. Now the criticism to that
there are
is
even 70 guys who we could have called up in 94.
Correct. Well, and that's the thing is when you look at this, is like out of the 70 that you called up, you get a 26-man roster. How many of those guys are really competing for the 26? Right now, it's probably significantly higher because I remember growing up, and again, I didn't know what I know now, so maybe there were more players. But I remember when we were thinking about the South Africa Cup, going, are we even going to be able to find 26 players?
That wasn't even 26 then, it was 22.
Right, because you're looking at your 22nd, 23rd guy, and you're going, do I want this guy in the field? You know what I mean? Like, because we were in the boat of going, if we lost any of our starters, your World Cup hopes right out the window. Like, Landon Donovan gets hurt, you might as well give up. Altidore, when he blew his hamstring out, you were like, dude, like, he was barely a striker as it was. Like, he was coming into form in that World Cup, but it was one of the, but now it's like, well, who do we play in the midfield?
So
One of the 7 guys, 8 guys, 9 guys, 10 guys, 11 guys that you could,
one of the things I noticed just as you guys talk is you've seen all these players play.
Yes, that's another big difference I didn't think about.
Yes, because
I've never seen like.
Right.
well, how did you watch them play overseas when you were growing up?
We couldn't.
You couldn't.
And we couldn't watch them play in the United States. The NASL,
That's a big difference. Yeah.
right? The NASL, I had to go to. They played at Randall's Island at first. I actually went to games at Randall's Island, everybody. And then when they went, like, you didn't know who was on the team, and you couldn't say, well, I don't know why he's not playing because he's pretty good, because you never saw him. I never saw these guys play, right?
Right, which is a huge difference.
And the fact that I knew who Ben Kremensky was,
Right,
you're like, whoa, how do you know who this guy is?
Because what we don't have now, we have different frustrations. But when we were growing up, if ESPN or ESPN2 didn't play the game,
You didn't watch
you were
it.
doomed.
Right.
And you'd be irate
Right.
at ESPN because you'd be like, dude, you're playing. And sometimes it was silly because sometimes it was like the World Series of Poker was on.
Or
Instead
like a
of,
NASCAR race.
Yes.
We never saw these.
Right. Whereas
They were never
now,
on
the
TV.
reason you don't catch the game is because you didn't pay the $6.99 for whatever
Right.
streaming service it was, and you're texting your friend to borrow their Hulu login
Right.
to try to get some TV provider to show you a game on TNT that barely streams. You got to watch in Spanish anyway.
Right.
But like at least you can see it. But yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. That like we've actually seen all these people.
So the fact that you guys have command of everybody on the team, and everybody who's tried to be on the team, and all these other things, I couldn't have named for you the World Cups that I went to the US. I couldn't have named for you their roster. In fact, at this moment, the guys on that '94 World Cup team, I don't think I could name but 3 of them.
Right.
But I could name you the whole Netherlands team.
Right.
Right. Because I could. Like, so when I went to
You
the
probably need more on Argentina than you could.
Right. When I went to the '72 World Cup to watch Netherlands play West Germany, I knew every player on the field. I couldn't have named for you one American player at the time. And I don't know why.
Right.
But you could.
Well, but it's a culture thing
Right,
because
right.
we,
It just didn't matter to me who the
and
Americans
we
were.
wanted to be competitive.
They weren't players.
Right,
Think about it. In '72, was the U.S. even did they even
I
make
can't
World
remember.
Cups?
I can't remember.
Well, humans. But it's the same thing as going like, could you tell me the second line to the Arizona Coyotes?
Right.
You can't because like
You don't watch them.
right,
Right.
and also they're horrible. So like, why would you follow them, right? But even just being an actual person, like, you know Alexander Ovechkin, you know Wayne Gretzky, you know the really good players.
Right.
The United States is starting to be in that conversation. We're starting to have the better players. We're starting to be so. Now, if we look at let's talk quick about all the games that we played. So we have played now a series of friendlies where the United States went from same old formation, struggling to beat top 20 teams,
Right.
to all of a sudden we haven't lost. Here we go.
6 games now? 5 games? 6 games?
It should be 6 now, right? Last 5. What was the one that opened it?
We didn't lose to Japan.
We didn't lose
We
to
beat
Japan.
Japan.
Yep.
Then we tied Colombia.
And then we had 3 straight wins.
Beat somebody in that window. I don't remember who. Australia.
Australia, and
Then we beat Paraguay and we beat Uruguay. So it's
Yes.
5 straight games we have not lost,
Right.
and we have given up 3 goals in those 5 games.
yes. So let's talk about which one of those games you want to talk about. The Uruguay game, I think, was the most fascinating.
Yeah, and the
Because
Uruguay
before
game
that Uruguay game started, I was predicting Uruguay to beat us 2-0. Now, granted, I don't know Uruguay's starters, and I'm sure if
5 of them.
if somebody had shown me their A team compared to whatever team it was, I probably still would have picked Uruguay to win because when I saw our starting lineup, I was like, okay, we're playing our C team, right? And I had my
we had
remarks about
we
that.
had 2 starters on the field that you could argue would be starters in the World Cup.
Mhm.
Matt Freese and who was it? It was someone in the midfield, right?
I think Dest played.
Yes, there it is. Or sorry, yeah, in the midfield because he now plays midfield. So it's Serginho Dest, Matt Freese, who you could argue were starters
Mhm.
for us. Nobody else you could, maybe Diego Luna, maybe Sebastian Berhalter, but at the moment, most likely not. Uruguay had 5 starters on the field, right? So when you look at it like that, you would think Uruguay's probably going to play better. But I talked to Dad about this on the trip here. It's a friendly.
Right.
Those guys on Uruguay know they're on the roster, right?
Right.
Because Uruguay doesn't have the depth that we do. The guys on our team that are starting might not make the roster unless they show Pochettino something.
Sure.
So you've got a team of everyone's trying to prove themselves, and a team where only half the guys are trying to prove
And they
themselves.
travel.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
And they travel.
Correct.
Who do you
They
think's going to
traveled
win?
in, having had to play the previous
Right,
game.
right.
They probably were staying in the United States. You're jet lagged from whatever you're. Yeah.
So, but that's
You
it.
played in Stadio Azteca.
Right.
So you played, what is it, a mile above ground, sea level?
Right.
How far is that above?
It's up. It's way up there. And the air quality from pollution is not great as it is.
And the game got ended. Or no, that was the Paraguay game got ended early because the Mexican fans
Right.
continue to do
Well,
what
and so a
Mexican
comment
fans
that
do.
Dad had made was, "This is the best performance that I've seen from a U.S. team."
They Right. So some things I noticed, like soccer things I noticed is when they're under pressure, they didn't fold. So they could knock the ball around to each other quickly. 1-2 touches quickly and make that breakout pass.
And release pressure.
What I call, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that breakout pass. Like I'm watching this team going, they're not the old team. They're really connected together. They're stringing 4 or 5 really quick passes together. They're making the breakout pass. They're breaking the pressure.
And then
they're keeping hold of the ball.
And we had creativity in the
right,
final
right,
third.
and I'm
That's
like, right.
That was the biggest piece to me that we had never seen is not only were we able to do that because we hadn't been able to do it.
Right.
We were able to do it with our second, third string guys, which we've never been able to do. And when we got into the final third, we were decisive.
Yes.
We had never laying the ball back on the top of the box, finding a little flat pass, swinging the ball in.
Look at Sebastian Berhalter's free kick. They were like, this is what we're doing. I'm playing the ball to you. You're just quickly tapping it back to me so it's rolling, and I'm going to shoot it.
Right.
And boom, it's a goal.
Was it
Look at
we weren't just blindly swinging the ball into the box going, we know we're supposed to do this, and we're going to hope somebody has the courage to try to get in the end of the ball.
Right.
But, look at Freeman. He scores a goal on a header. Great set piece from Berhalter.
Great
Right?
set piece.
His second goal, he goes, I got a defender in front of me. I'm just going to take him.
You took him on.
And he took him on, he beat him, and then he beat the next guy, and he was all in. And it was just put in the net. Diego Luna, ball comes to him at the top of the box. He doesn't even think twice about, should I pass this? Should I settle it? He goes, I'm putting it right there.
Right.
And he just walks up to it, bang, with his left foot
Correct.
right in the net.
Correct. And it's the big thing that you and I talked about when people were saying, is Pulisic elite, is Adams elite, is McKinney elite, which is there were way too many chances in that last little bit that we wouldn't make.
We gotta wrap up.
Yeah. And if you didn't make them,
Right.
you weren't going to get there.
Correct.
So let's
Like
talk about the pots.
Yep.
And then we'll give some World Cup thoughts, and then we could maybe some groups and different things. So there are 4 pots for the World Cup.
Yep.
The final, and they go like Ryan said. So you're gonna have the hosts with the next ranked nations, and that is a pot of 12.
Yep.
Right, because now we have 12 groups. Then you have pot 2, which is the next 12 ranked nations. Then you have pot 3, which is the next 12 ranked nations. Again, that have all qualified. And then pot 4, which is the remaining teams plus
Well, it's
the
the next
6.
It's the next 6 ranked nations that qualified, but then those 6 those playoff spots could be ranked anywhere because Italy is a top 20 team, but they could be in pot 4.
Correct.
Right.
So because
they have to
the
get
pots,
correct.
you might wind up with like a 15th ranked team in pot 4.
Correct. Like Wales is 28
Anyway,
or something.
Which could create some
They could be in
craziness.
there, and they're a team that rank wise could be in pot 2.
Yes.
But it's just because you didn't make it, so you have to play a playoff spot. So you're the last team in your pot.
Yes. And when I looked through this, I know we had chatted about it. This is the first time that I looked at the pots and went, it's already not very dangerous at the end of pot 2. And I feel like the World Cup, you still felt kind of dangerous in pot 2. So we have
The back
what
half
is that?
of pot 2.
Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal.
Yep.
Iran, South Korea, Ecuador.
Yep. Poland.
Yeah, Austria.
No, Austria.
Right?
Yep.
Austria and Australia.
Australia.
Make up pot 2.
So
And I think that falls off. I mean, that starts to fall off FIFA rank wise by
Japan.
Senegal. But from what we've seen talent wise, it's fallen off by Japan.
Yes. And then pot 3, so you've got Norway, Panama, Egypt, Algeria, Scotland. Who is that?
After Scotland?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Is that Panama?
No.
No, that's not Panama. Is that Slovakia?
I have no idea. That might be Panama.
Then you got Tunisia, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan,
Right.
right? So you look at that and you go, is there even a challenging team in there other than Norway?
Qatar and who? Who still left?
Uzbekistan.
Oh, yep.
Huh.
Yeah, and
But
South
it's like-
Africa.
But it's like, after Norway, is any of those even dangerous?
So you guys know better than me because I look at that. I don't know anything
Correct.
about any of those teams.
But like,
Because
I look at, and Norway is dangerous because Martin Ødegaard, Erling Haaland, Oscar Bob, strikers.
Right.
Strikers, good midfield. That's it.
Right.
Right? And our defenders play against Holland.
Well, but you could make there are going to be people who are going to make the argument, though, that are going to look at the United States and they're going to say the same
Oh,
thing.
sorry, that's not
There are
Jordan. That's
people who
South
are dying
Africa.
to get in our pot.
Jordan is.
The way that I
top
think
four.
that you got to look at this tournament is there's going to be a very elite set of teams that legitimately, from a Vegas standpoint, are going to be favorites to win the tournament.
Yes.
Right? Spain,
Argentina, France,
England.
Brazil.
I mean, England is England. I'm not saying I don't want them to do well. I'm not saying I wouldn't be excited.
They struggle in big tournaments.
They are just their England, right?
Yes.
And then after
They try to
that,
play
right?
very
So after that, you're going to have a pretty decent chunk of teams
That could.
that all have a chance
Yeah.
if the ball goes their way, right? I think you could put Uruguay in that group. You could go
US.
as far down as that.
Portugal.
United States, Portugal. You could go to Morocco's got a chance if it goes that way. Brazil's got it. Belgium's got it. Netherlands have it, right? Like they all have it. Then it's kind of like teams who are going to disrupt, right? They might get some wins. They might knock some other teams out. But like really after that, no one has a very legitimate chance.
Yeah,
And then you have your bottom like
because you look at pot 4 and it's like Jordan, New Zealand,
Right.
Haiti, Curacao,
Right.
correct.
Cameroon.
Right. But my big focus is on this.
Could
because
be,
I think
could
we're
be
in that second
Jamaica,
group.
could be, North Macedonia.
Correct. But I think we're in that second group of people, which is you've given yourself the opportunity to make a run.
Yep.
It's one game at a time, and if the ball bounces your way, you can get there. We
Yep.
saw Morocco make the semifinal, winning on penalty kicks. We saw Croatia winning on penalty kicks. And we now have the talent that if we can get a goal, we can park the bus. We can switch a different style. We can play a different tactic, and we can try to see ourselves get there. So, like, and when I think as far as the groups go, like the groups of death, they're very few and far between. You're going to have to see an Italy qualify, and yeah, you're going to wind up having to have Italy in your group.
So the thing for me is if our pot if our pot 2 team is one of those first 4, so Croatia, Morocco, Colombia,
or that's going to be tough.
that to me means okay, there's a chance we lose a game, right? As long as we don't have Norway, right, from pot 3, I don't see us losing a pot 3 team or a pot 4 team.
Correct. Unless because your 4 UEFAs are going to be tight.
Correct. And the 4 UEFAs that are in there that are most likely to get through, based on what I've been looking at, is Ukraine, Italy, Wales, and who was it? That wasn't. But looking at those 3, Italy's the only one I think that would give us a problem. But Italy's not. They haven't made the World Cup in the last. If they miss this one, they missed 3 in a row.
Correct.
Think about that for a team that's won World Cups.
Yes.
To miss 3 in a row.
You can be sure the Italians are thinking about it.
Yes.
Right? Exactly.
Very disappointing.
Way over.
But so
thinking
and
about it.
with the top 8 third place teams making it out of group stage, I find it very, very, very unlikely the U.S. does not make it out.
Right. Well, and especially when the draw comes, which the draw is this Friday.
Yep.
So we're less than a week away now, which is crazy because it means we're like less than a month away from the final rosters getting announced and all this other stuff. So like we're getting there. If you see like in Australia get picked in your pot first, you got to be thinking United States going 3-0, United States holding a pretty healthy path
Yes.
to getting somewhere. Which is at this point going, we got to make.
And that's big. So with this World Cup, winning your group is big because then you are going to play one of those third place teams.
Right, which is massive. Yes, that's
Because
big
if the
difference.
U.S. comes out of their group in the first win, there's a chance that you play like a Scotland
So
in the first round.
how many of those teams do you think we don't have a chance of beating?
None of them. I think we can beat any of them.
Right.
At any
And
time.
that's the way I'm looking at this World Cup.
Spain.
I'm not, right. I'm not
I
going to
don't
be
think so.
disappointed.
I don't
I
think
think
we got
because-
a chance in the world of beating Spain.
Sure.
No.
Right. I'm not going
I
to.
think we could hold our own with Argentina. I think we have held our own with England.
Yep.
Like we have.
Right.
And I think out of all the teams, because we play in the Premier League and England plays a very similar style to the Premier League and we have so many players, that's going to be one. Brazil is way too all over the map and seems to be the letdown
Right.
every tournament.
So for me, the big difference in this World Cup is, and I'm being honest, this is the first World Cup that I've been alive that I am not pessimistic about the U.S. chances.
Correct.
About just
Right.
succeeding, whatever
But do you think that
means.
makes it better or worse? Because last World
It makes
Cup,
it more stressful.
it was way more heartbreaking for us to not beat or even compete with the Netherlands because you were going.
I don't think I'm not even sure we didn't compete with them. I think it was the Netherlands
Yeah,
knew how to beat us.
Yes.
They knew how to beat us.
Yes.
And the U.S. ran into that problem of we send our wingbacks up, they beat us on the counter.
Right.
And Netherlands did exactly that. They were like, attack us, go for
I
it.
don't know, but like
Just pummel us. And, oh, you made a mistake while you were trying to break down our door.
Freeze is gonna
so
come, yeah.
this is the first World Cup I am nervous about them for, because I didn't have any expectations for them. I didn't want them to embarrass themselves. I was like, God, if we could win a game, wouldn't that be great? And when we won a game, I remember going down to the National Soccer Hall of Fame where they were televising the games, and us winning a game there, and the place went nuts. You know, and it was in the and I don't have that this time.
Mhm.
This time I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm nervous because they better win this game, and they better win this game.
Right.
You know, and that's a shift. That's a shift, right?
How big of a shift is this? Is a question for both of you. How big of a turning point is this tournament for U.S. soccer as a whole?
Oh, you can answer that if you want.
What do you think?
I mean, Pochettino has said it. It's massive, and they're going to give it their all. And he genuinely believes. Pochettino has said that if the U.S. does not win, he will consider it a letdown.
Right.
Win the whole tournament.
Yes.
Right.
He basically said the U.S. is going out there. We are going to win it. It's on home soil. We're going to do what Morocco did when it was the last World Cup, and we're gonna
surprise people. Right?
We're gonna surprise people. We're gonna beat them. We're gonna make that. We're gonna make it to the finals. We're gonna win it. We're gonna host that trophy on home soil.
Right.
I would love that. That would be freaking awesome.
Well, because to me, there's three scenarios.
But like I said, top 8. Because if you make top 8, we're most likely playing one of those top 4 ranked teams.
Right.
Right there. And to lose to one of them, to me, wouldn't feel like a letdown. If we lose to Argentina 1-0 in the round of 8, where we have our chances, Argentina has their chances, and they get a goal and we don't, are we going to be upset?
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, you're going to be heartbroken, but you're going to be like,
That's
wow, we really had a chance.
we held our own with, you know, the number 2 ranked FIFA team in the world.
When I'm thinking about like culture as a whole, think about these three scenarios, and then we can both make comments and we can wrap it up. The United States wins the World Cup.
Right.
The United States does well at the World Cup, and well being you finish somewhere in the top 10.
Right.
Right. United States doesn't make it out of the group. The first open-ended question is: does any of that affect anything at all, or are we going to go the trajectory we're going, regardless of where the tournament is?
I think if the U.S. men win the group, or not win the group, win the tournament,
Like, does soccer in America
I think
fundamentally change?
I think it will. I think you will see oh my God, the men can win games, and it's not just going to be the women are the only good soccer in the United States. We're going to get that star, bud. We're going to get that star.
No, yeah,
You're going to have to buy a whole bunch of new jerseys.
From a marketing stance, we know America loves money, right? But but I'm curious as to your thoughts, because what did people think the '94 World Cup was going to do for soccer in America?
Well, back then it was it was their performance, how they look. We held our own. We looked okay. We had some chances. We knew we weren't going to beat them. It was those kinds of things. I kind of agree with Ryan, though. Like, for me, this time it's really going to be about performance, not how far they get. So if they don't make it out of the first round, but soccer is soccer. We know what soccer is, right? It's like 2 games where, oh my God, they should have won those games. It's really about what it looks like in the end,
Correct.
not the score.
Who
For
do we
me,
look to me? If we don't make it out of the group, you're gonna have people that are like, see, I told you U.S. soccer sucked.
Correct.
Why did we get to host the World Cup?
But here's
We're now what? We would be the second host nation
Yes.
to not make it out of the group.
Right.
South Africa was one. No, Qatar.
Qatar.
Qatar didn't make it
Did we
out.
make it
South
out of the
Africa
group the
did.
last time we hosted it? Or not? We hosted
No, you said
No,
no.
we didn't make it out of '94. It was Romania and
Oh,
Switzerland.
that's right.
Okay,
Okay.
so-
I'm thinking of the women.
So
Qatar didn't make it
here's
out.
the thing. Here's the thing. We get out of the group. We win that first game, and that second game's against Argentina. We lose in the round of 16, which just seems to be the U.S. curse.
Right.
We lose round of 16. We lose to France, right? We lose to Brazil, 1-0. Any of those top 5 teams, we lose 1-0 to in the round of 16. But
It depends on what
we hold our own with them.
I don't know, man. I think America is good. I think
We're getting tired of
U.S.
that.
soccer is going to be disappointed because we are pouring so many resources into hosting this event, this massive global phenomenon. And for us to have what we're going to claim is like our dream team, like this is the best we've ever been. If we don't go to the quarters, I don't think there's going to be like I'm not going to be sitting here going like we did. I'm going to be going. We didn't even make the quarterfinal.
Right.
Like
That's why I think top 8 is realistic. That I would consider a win for the U.S. In my eyes, as a fan that has watched them play for 25 years now.
Mhm.
If we can beat win round of 16 game, make that final 8, and give ourselves and we play well in that final game. If we get embarrassed in the final game, probably won't consider it a success. But we make the final 8, we make the quarters, and we put on a good performance. That's a huge step, I think, for U.S. soccer.
Yeah, for me, it's the way they look. Because soccer's a weird game, score-wise.
It's just
a weird game.
It's a weird game.
And I also think that teams don't make it through big tournaments without winning penalty shootouts.
Mhm.
And
We have a good very
I said to Ryan, like, it's a small little thing, but it matters, right? Like a lot of these premier teams who are at the Germanys and the Frances and the Brazils, they think about penalty shots because they know they're going to have to win them to make it.
Argentina in the World Cup they won had to win 3 penalty kicks in a row to win. They beat the Netherlands in penalties.
Yeah,
they
Croatia
should
was tight, so if you can't do it, yeah.
Right.
So this is you're not going to get a chance.
And what goalie can make 2 saves?
Yeah.
Whether they save it or a player misses.
Yeah.
You get in their head and they
We
miss.
certainly have an
What
advantage.
goalie can make 2 saves? And Matt Freese, in almost every shootout I've watched him do, saves at least 1.
Mhm.
And that right there is already like, holy crap.
He's a big deal. He's a big deal.
So,
I don't know the answer to your question though. How I'll feel. Like for
Well,
me,
we know what happens.
So my question isn't necessarily how we feel. It's what's going to be the impact on U.S. soccer culture as a whole?
I'm not worried. I used to worry about U.S. soccer.
Like, do we? I guess like to put it easier, do we actually think if the United States wins this World Cup that soccer in the United States will drastically change?
No, I don't. Because I think it's already here. I think it's already made it.
So
Even
that's
though
what
it's
I'm
like
saying. The trajectory we're on, we're going to stay on regardless.
Right, because and maybe it'll give us a little bit of a boost because maybe some of our players will get seen by big clubs and they'll get experience in the big clubs and that can really help.
Mhm.
But our professional soccer league is finally financial stable, as I understand it. I don't follow
yes,
that
they
close.
are.
They've made it. And my generation, that was the problem.
Hmm.
And not only have they made it, they're luring good players
Right.
now.
Well, so then that becomes the twist to that is
Right.
if you win the World Cup with 50% of MLS players on your roster,
Right.
does that
Right,
happen?
right.
Do people go, maybe the MLS is good?
Right.
Maybe we should consider.
Right. So maybe like there's more Messis.
Right.
If you want, like, right? Why can't Salah? Why can't
Right.
Right. Some of these players and part of it is our teams can't afford to bring them.
Correct.
They can't compete with the salaries, and they got to get to a place where they have owners that'll say, "Oh, I'll pay $10 million. I want this guy."
Right.
Right?
Because they're going to get a return on
Right.
that investment.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun. That was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
We'll be back Saturday with one for the drawings.
yeah, we're gonna be back Saturday with one for drawings. If not Friday night, the draw is gonna be Friday. I don't know what time Friday. So yeah, we'll have a podcast up that weekend.
Do you want to
talk
do the
about
podcast live while
the
there's
draws.
drawings?
I would, if I wasn't working, if I'm not working, I would absolutely love to. So if we can bring you guys a live one, we will bring you a live one. Even if maybe we don't watch it, if it's going to be during the day, we'll just do a live reaction to it.
Okay.
We can do one of those and just get ourselves revealed to it, and we'll do our picks and stuff in that. But otherwise, thank you for joining us.
We got to take a moment to put pressure on the men's team.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them are going to be watching, but you guys better show up for the World Cup.
That's right.
And you better kick some butt. And we want to see a game. We want you guys to win some freaking games.
Yes,
Fair.
win some games. That's what we're expecting because this is generations of soccer and kids that are expecting. We are pulling for you guys. We are wearing the crest. We are backing you guys.
I
We
have
want
a
to start.
I have waited 60 years to get it together,
Yeah,
guys.
let's go. We got this. So yeah, we are excited. We thank everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one.